Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to a new show, revamped and made better for anybody out there for understanding. So, welcome to the Open Door Policy. I am your host, Sailor Boy Troy. My lovely Brendalicious co-host here is Brendan, and a man with many accolades is our guest tonight, Mr. Attila Kun. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I am happy to. I've been excited to have this episode. I'm glad of the new branding that's coming out. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some better artwork for the intro, but for the time being, we'll roll with what we got. The word is better than the cover of the book. So, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Introduce yourselves. Have Brennan.
Yeah. Hey, Troy, we're doing it, eh?
We're doing it.
We're doing it, and this is pretty exciting stuff, and it's about just sharing. It's about sharing ourselves and sharing our experiences, and hopefully with giving a little bit of our perspective, hopefully it will give somebody a little bit of ease, and less chaos in the world. I am very interested in hearing about you, Mr. Kun, hearing about your story, hearing about your past experiences, your current education, and your practices. This new age, maybe it's not new age, maybe it's always been. maybe it's
old age.
Yeah, maybe we've been flipped upside down, right? So having like different insights and having these conversations is a big thing, and communicating and connecting, trying to find some sort of light during some sort of darkness that we're not the only ones feeling it. I think the globe is. So without further ado, I'll just let you introduce yourself there, Attila, and just kind of give us a brief background, and then we'll just ask you a few questions, and then we'll go off from there. Does that sound good?
Sure. Well, thank you very much, guys, for having me on your program. And as you can hear it, I have an accent. So I'm Hungarian originally, and occasionally I may switch into a Hungarian one word or two, because I teach back and forth between two languages every day. So if I say something you don't understand, it's not because I'm crazy, it's because I'm between two languages nonstop. I will correct myself. Anyway, about me, what part would you like to know? How did this whole thing started, or where I come from, what's my background, or everything?
Yeah, okay. The main,
I don't think we can go through everything. If you look at
we can't go through everything in a man's life.
Okay. So let's start with simple stuff. Okay, I grew up in a communist country, and I escaped from a communist country. So about politics, I'm horrified to see what's happening in Canada, and that's about it. I don't want to talk about that any longer. Now, I started out at a young age in the printing business, because my entire family was printer. So by the time I was 18, I was working with a newspaper as an editor in Europe, in Budapest. Then after I was in the Budapest airport in the army, we had to do mandatory services for 2 years. And then with my wife, by age 22, we left Hungary and we went to Austria. By this time, I was a professional magician. I worked with a circus doing my magic shows. So by the time I am around 23-ish, we are in Canada. We arrived to New Brunswick, Fredericton. Eventually from there, about 10 months later, we moved to the Edmonton. And in the West Edmonton Mall, I opened the magic shop, which I was running for about 10 years. I was in the entertainment business in my young age. And then I saw a stage hypnotist, Peter Revine, and that's intrigued me, and actually really pushed me into the idea, can I learn this? Did I just see the devil performing on stage, or what is this hypnosis business? So I opened the coffee shop in downtown, and across from me there was a library. And all what I could get is medical books on hypnosis. Eventually, I found a school in Edmonton in Sherwood Park. I took all their trainings, and by 1996, I was teaching there. And for about 20 years, I worked with this lovely lady teaching hypnotherapy through her school. In 2014, I separated out and I started my own hypnotherapy school. I developed 11 different programs in 2 languages. And as a matter of fact, this weekend I am teaching this course, which I have. Let me show you. If I don't know if it shows here or not.
Yeah.
Because I have a green screen.
There,
Anyway,
the green
doesn't
screen,
matter.
yeah. What we'll do later on, if you could take a photo of it, we'll put it on
here.
The,
it's an immersive meditation coach course. So it's an online coach training. But I'm doing it Hungarian this weekend, actually. So anyway, jump back a little bit. I developed my hypnosis into the entertainment as well. And I traveled with my stage hypnosis shows all across, and I trained many famous stage hypnotists. 2005, exactly 20 years ago, on June 5th, I had an accident, a car accident, and the guy who was driving my car fell asleep. We hit the ditch at the Cactus Corner in Alberta, you know, where the rock band is, who was the rock band? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I broke my neck. I have titanium rods, 8 screws in my neck, and I settled down and I walked away from the entertainment business. So I went back to university, started to studying, and through a few years here and there, skipping and then going back, I finished a bachelor's psychology degree. And then after I finished a nutritional science degree. And at the moment, I am doing actually my final research project on my PhD on LPU, life prescription medicine, from European University. But I have many other courses I took and teach, from NLP to my specialty is actually regression therapy. So that's what I do. I am training people on a daily basis, different languages. I travel. Oh, by the time, if I jump back a little bit, when I was in the show business, I did huge productions. My biggest, probably I had the biggest stage hypnosis show in Canada, performing 4,000 or 5,000 people, stadiums. You may find some video clips still from all YouTube video clips, Attila Hypnotist. But as I said, I retired from that lifeline about 20 years ago. So now I am really into the subconscious, the unconscious, and into how we can help people, especially, for example, give you a hint, borderline, bipolar, depression, attention deficit, so-called disorder, which I don't necessarily believe or follow. So I help constantly on a daily basis, do sessions online. And because of the nutritional science background now, I am able to create like a whole, as a holistic helping in people.
Oh. Wow. So right off the bat, like that the adversity that you had to go through, bringing it right back to leaving Hungary, communist Hungary. What year did you end up migrating to Canada? Was it
1983?
83. Wow.
Yeah.
And then starting fresh in a new country, and then building.
I didn't speak English back then, and I was working in a dog grooming parlor washing dogs.
The adversity, man, like it's amazing, but it brought you to a journey. From what I've seen here, you that car accident kind of shifted you.
It was a spiritual experience also. So until that moment, even though I explored different religions, I never really went into, because somehow there was always some disappointment in the way they are presenting it, but the way I experienced it, and I just couldn't follow always. But the closest I ever came to any religion, it was once when I almost got baptized by Jehovah's Witnesses, you believe it or not. And honest to God, and it made a lot of sense, perhaps. And I was still young in Canada. I wanted to belong to some groups, and I found some Hungarians who were the members. So here is the true story. They were taking me to getting baptized. And I'm sitting in this little van with a bunch of other people, and we're going down on these little roads to a lake. And I see a sign of the lake. And honestly, it was like a wake-up call for me. The lake called Devil's Lake.
Devil's Lake.
And apparently that's where is the biggest Kingdom Hall is in Canada.
Oh.
Listen, and I'm like, Attila, are you crazy? You're going to get baptized at the Devil's Lake? And I'm like, what's going on here? And
what kind of journey are you going on there?
I don't mean to hurt anybody's religion, but that's my personal experience, okay? So I went into their Kingdom Hall. I excused to go to the bathroom. I climbed out on the window, ran out to the highway, and I went home with a hitchhiking going back to Edmonton, and I never went back to any church since.
This sounds like you followed your intuition. Yeah,
I do always.
Instincts, right?
It was weird, but anyway, I have nothing bad to say about them. Don't mistake it. That's my personal.
Good disclaimer.
Do you think that's one of those synchronicities that Carl Jung speaks of? Do you think that was what that was, or do you just chalk that up to superstition? Where do you find that?
I'm not even sure what to. It's just brought up so much memories now as I was talking about, and I'm still in it. But let me continue. The next spiritual experience was actually when I broke my neck. Yes. And I used to hate to cut the grass, and I had like only a little condominium in Edmonton, with like a 12 by 12 little yard in the back, and pushing with this little hand blower or whatever. So I had this halo screwed into my head, and the wire and fixed, and my C7 was shattered into pieces. So. And I'm laying on this bed as they're pushing me into the operating room, and I'm glancing out on the side, and I see this, I think it was a Chinese guy cutting the grass in the backyard in the University Hospital in Edmonton. And I made the prayer, and I said, God, let me help cut the grass one more time, and I will donate my talent. So I came out 2 days after the operation. I was already home walking, recovering. But ever since that, I only do charity performances. Occasionally, I do charity magic show. Occasionally, I did a couple of small hypnosis shows. From the money what came in, we built an eco-toilet system in Mexico and a water system in India. I was a president here locally in Windsor. I live in Windsor. So I was sometimes, about 10 years ago, the president of a local Rotary Club. And so I did a lot of this charity work. And as a matter of fact, just in the beginning of June, I will do a little magic show for handicapped children here, which is also donation to them. And that's about me, basically.
Man.
Wow.
I don't even know where to go.
No. That's good. That's good. I'm just gonna backtrack a little bit. So the spiritual kind of viewpoint you didn't really have up until you had that accident.
I was in the ego trip.
Okay.
Listen, guys. Listen, I started to getting booking to Vegas, to Hollywood. I was getting $20,000 for a 2-hour show, flying in a private jet to Vegas to do corporate functions. I was in the limelight. I was in the top notch at that moment. Even I got offers to get my own theater in Vegas, and everything is just collapsed. And I had to reevaluate everything. And there was this Pink Floyd song, the locked in the cage with all the spotlights and you spiraling down the hole.
You got that song, Troy? You want to get that song up there somewhere?
Yeah, we can't do that, unfortunately. We'd get flagged for it.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
So, and that total ego, that I'm a star, and walking away from that.
So with that ego trip, you almost had to shed it. You would have to shed the ego to get to that spiritual kind of.
trauma-endorsed ego, forcing transformation, kind of like the butterfly,
It was like
the metamorphosis type.
I have evaluated, this car accident so many times because I was sitting in my own car. The guy who worked for me for 16 years, and we were friends, almost, I would say, very good, very close friends that time, working 16 years together. And with a coffee in his hand, he fell asleep. So now I'm suing my own car insurance company, and I'm in this fight with the insurance company for 6 or 7 years almost. And by this time, I was teaching in Hungary in one of my class. I'm standing in a little platform, and I'm talking about, in hypnotherapy class, about secondary gain. And the secondary gain is when you actually maintaining your body, utilizing your physical body, and keeping yourself sick for financial gain. I'm teaching this. And that's when it hits me. I said, oh my God, I'm playing the same game because of the insurance company promised me. And then I suddenly calculating, I'm losing over $100,000 a year to get maybe $300,000. And after 7 years, they only offering me $60,000. Attila, are you crazy? You lost already $500,000. And I'm teaching this, and I was in the game. And that was the final when you walk away from all this nonsense.
So was that like I guess you'd call it like a, I don't want to say pyramid type of scheme, but something similar to that? Like you're kind of teaching you can gain your...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just wondering, is it just like you're just teaching people that they can manifest their own money type thing, like that side of the house, or no way?
No, secondary gain is basically when the subconscious mind, is utilizing you, because that can only manifest in your physical body, to get gain, which means even Sigmund Freud said that there is a gain in being sick. There is benefit of being sick.
And why is that?
Do you follow this part?
Right. And why is that? Is that just a natural thing, or is that a learned thing?
Could be rest, isolation.
I think it could be conditioned. And it's also, look, I was like this. I deserve this because somebody caused me harm. Now I have to prove it. I have permanent damage. So I'm fighting to get this money from the insurance company. And this keeps you in the game. And now it's conditioned you mentally, psychologically in this game.
So it creates
and this becomes a secondary gain, not consciously. You are not necessarily aware of it, but now you are being sick until you finally reserve. So I phoned the insurance company on that day when it's hit me in Europe. I said, I'm settling down. I gave them a number, $100,000, and 2 minutes later, they phoned me like it's done. So 7 years later, all what it took to snap out of this, realizing I'm losing more money by not consciously, not aware of it, but playing the game, being sick.
Okay.
Do you follow this now?
Well, this is well, I'm trying to. This is awesome information. This is new for me. So you're saying like that subconscious mind, I don't think too many people, including myself, really think about that. Like there is something about the human self that there's a subconscious aura that's like kind of just like guiding your path if you choose it or let it to do so. So what your work is in hypnosis and stuff like that is that you kind of correct that a little bit.
Yeah. So I was just saying that to Troy here yesterday that so many people, and in the coaching and in the therapy industry and the business, they always talk about conscious and subconscious and unconscious, but do really people even understand this? Even in the profession, they don't really understand it. So here, I'm not trying to educating you or questioning you. It's just merely to bringing awareness at the moment. To you, what does it mean, subconscious?
Subconscious to me would be something that like it's an act that you're not thinking before or after. You're just doing. It's subconscious. It's an act. It's destiny. It's just something happening.
How about if I give you a little explanation?
That was a little bit off.
How about if I give you an explanation on it?
I appreciate that.
Okay, so the subconscious and so-called conscious is not the part of a physical brain. It's almost like information in the cloud, okay? It's a stored information. Now, the unconscious layers, which is where the deep-rooted, forgotten, or even the suppressed memories results or stays. The subconscious mind is very simple, emotional triggers. So the function of the subconscious mind is run all your bodily functions and is basically react. Okay, it stores the long-term memory. However, if you have no recollection to long-term memory now, that might be suppressed into the unconscious. So your subconscious mind is constantly running even when you are sleeping.
It's always running. See, that I did not know.
Okay,
that's like
give
your
you a
breathing
hint. It's going to record informations through the 5 senses even when you are sleeping. Now, you are not seeing that time, but you may hear sounds. Give you a hint. Let's say you're going to hear at your house, as you are sleeping, there is an ambulance is going and the siren is on. You are not consciously aware of it. Your subconscious still can store this information. You are, let's say, become unconscious in a car accident. You hit something, boom, you pass out, you are unconscious. In this unconscious state, your subconscious mind still records informations. Sounds, people, what they speak around, experiences, and here comes the danger in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind will substitute information when there is no present, when they are not aware. Wow. So when you are consciously not aware, the subconscious substitutes. Give you a hint. At that moment, you are unconscious state in a car accident. If you have previously stored car accidents, sirens, anything related to the similar circumstances, it will be probably combined and stored as one impression in the subconscious or in the unconscious. Do you follow all this?
So it's almost like fractal memories combine as to be one mismatched piece of,
and now later on,
foggy recollections.
And later on, for example, from NLP, the VACOG, so visual, auditory, or any type of stimuli can reactivate this.
Yeah, it's
now suddenly you are in an emotionally are activated. So the subconscious mind is an emotional mind. It's only response to emotions.
So something like, okay, take this as a, it's plain. And here comes my plain answers to a professional here. Take this as somebody sleeping in their bed and listening to true crime, and got their true crime on and they're sound asleep and they swear they have the best sleeps listening to this kind of murder stories and all that. Would you say that's storing subconscious information?
Well, let's jump a tiny bit back.
Okay, we're jumping back.
So you understand this better.
Yeah.
In the last 3 months, when the fetus in the mother's womb is developing, the brain is developing physically, anything what the mother will experience will be imprinted and creating the neural net in the child's brain. So imagine this, all those emotions now what belongs to the mother will be transferred into the child, into the fetus, into the developing brain, forming their neuron net. When they are born, it's this information, if they never get an outside stimuli, which doesn't trigger this information, it will be dormant. It could be dormant forever.
So that sounds very similar to like the literal generational trauma, or
bingo, you got it. That's could be one. But just think about this. The mother is, let's say, listening all the time, I don't know, some heavy metal music, and she likes it. Okay, now they are preparing to a little girl being born, and they bought these lullaby little twinkly toys, and they playing classical music for the child to sleep well, and the child is unable to sleep, and the child is just totally goes berserk. But when they put on loud music, the kid falls asleep because the brain has been conditioned to Metallica.
I got it. Yes.
Okay,
So
so
there's
now
that
the
question
same
again.
way, it can happen to anybody or any time.
So
That's
it could be
incredible.
genetic or it could be imprinted at any given time. It's just whatever sticks, I guess.
Can I
And-
play a game with you guys?
Sure.
Please.
So, what's in my hand? Try
Nothing.
to show it.
Nothing.
Okay,
Nothing.
let's do this one more time. What's in my hand?
Nothing.
So we can play this forever.
Okay.
You're gonna say nothing. Okay, let's give you a hint. Imagine there's something in there. What's in there?
It's a ball.
Okay, it's a
Air.
ball. Some people say apple, whatever. So you said ball? What color?
It is a blue ball.
Okay, that was a little bit off. Okay, so we got a blue ball in my hand. You are very kind, my friend. Okay, so here we go, blue ball. Is it soft or hard?
Soft.
Okay, is that for dogs? Like a toy ball for dogs throwing?
It's a dog toy. Yeah.
Hard, okay. So listen, I created an imprint in your subconscious mind with what you are not aware at the moment. A year from now, all what I have to do is this.
And then we'll remember the ball thing.
And the
even if we
trigger
don't see it,
could
we'll just
happen and you
remember
are
it.
not aware of it.
Yep.
So this could be dangerous for grooming, for instance.
No, it's not
and stuff.
dangerous, but what I'm
No?
saying that is you will store information based on your how do you need this?
Right.
Okay, if I'm gonna do this to you, you will immediately link back. Oh yeah, the ball.
It's the blue dog ball.
Okay. However,
so
if someone else does it, it not necessarily will trigger this.
But with yourself,
With you.
Okay.
Yes,
At the
I can see
moment,
it.
I did an explanation on this,
yes.
but I give you another hint. Close your eyes for a second. Just close
Got it.
your eyes for a second.
Close.
And I want you now to imagine in Hungary, Budapest, in one of the hills, and I'm going to name it, there is a beautiful statue.
Mhm.
Now, you can open your eyes and tell me, what did you see?
I saw a mountainside with a white, like, domed little building with like a golden cross on it.
Okay, so if I would show you the statue, you guaranteed you didn't see that in your mind's eyes. What did you do? You substituted an information and you
Yeah.
brought stored information out from your long-term memory.
But why would
So-
I have a long-term memory from Budapest?
Then you might remember, okay, when I do this game with Hungarians, for example, I tell them to think of the Toronto, the CN Tower. They imagining
Oh.
all kind of different towers, none of them knows. Okay. So
The
what I'm
CN
trying to
Tower.
say
Never seen
is, if there's an expectation for you and you
Gotcha.
don't have an answer for it, your
You-
subconscious
you-
mind will substitute the information.
Let's try to see here. Hungary.
So the subconscious is the filler because it's not fully aware.
Yeah.
It's that makes sense.
It's just response. It reacts. It's an emotional mind. Doesn't think. Doesn't analyze.
So I
It
guess
simply
like,
reacts. And once you are reacted, once you're responding with emotions, it activates immediately physiological changes in the body. And this is where meditation can come in.
okay,
You
so
guys are searching now for that statue.
I was in the middle of the search. I just was trying to see if Troy was close on his.
It's a lady
statue.
actually standing with a palm leaf in her hand. Okay, this
Yeah,
piece.
I think I got it here, and I can put it up on the preset. That's really. Have you been to Hungary since you've come back?
Yes, almost every year I go teach there.
So you go every year. That's
So here's my question. Just
Well, since 2008.
I wanted to take this back a second. If we're that easy to manipulate, here's where I question, because again, you're a hypnotist, right? You can do the imprinting. You could do it at a deep level. I already know this. But now here's my question. With the utilization of these practices, adding a spiritual context to it with box breathing, which is Kundalini breathing, that's exactly what it is, and psychedelics, DMT, all these other altered states of consciousness, if they had somebody such as yourself standing in the middle of the room doing whatever the meditation on the other end is it so much the altered state of the drug that's doing it, or is it the guided voice of somebody who can easily manipulate somebody, right? Like, because then we get into MK Ultra, like if we go deeper down with this, right? So I'm just wondering, like, why is this being pushed so much in the public eye now as a therapy, if we know that the human mind is, if it's that easy to hack without being chipped?
The only way we can hack the human mind if you are a willing participant in it.
So what do you mean by being a willing participant?
Let's say, Troy, look in my eyes. I want you to go to TD Bank and rob that for me.
Right.
The only way this would work if you have this desire to do it on your own anyway.
Okay, so
we have
it's almost
to be
like
aligned with your wants and needs. Does this make sense?
So
I cannot manipulate you against your will.
So is this where it got dangerous possibly in the past then? And I know I'm going a little bit off a little bit, but is this where it got dangerous maybe back in the day, where they could easily identify bad people from good people with these practices? Like they could find out at the deepest root who the bad people in society were, and that's why it became outlawed? Is that a possibility?
I do believe, let's jump again back a tiny bit. So hypnosis itself is a mythical, approach all the time in the general public's eye. But look, if I could utilize this power, okay, truly I'm saying this, I would walk into the first bank and I would tell the lady to transfer money into an account in the Caribbean. It doesn't work that way. Unless if they have the same desire within. You cannot hypnotize a woman and tell them have sex with me unless she wants to do that anyway. So where this coming in is, I think the Hollywood movies, the Manchurian candidates, and all of these negative stories back in history, we are looking at is the manipulating the mind. Well, you can only manipulate people who is willing to do that. They have to be a participant in that game. Do you follow this? Is this
so you got to be able to be submitting to the
experience.
There is this critical factor of the conscious mind. It will step in and it will so let's say I hypnotize you, and which I did with thousands and thousands of people. Sometimes I did over 300 shows in a year. Okay. So I hypnotized thousands of people in the past 30 some years. So listen, let's say I gave out a suggestion and I said to the guy, next time you open your eyes, you will be Michael Jackson. And this happened to me in Calgary for a police academy. About 25 years ago, I did this show. The guy responded, everything good for a hypnotic suggestion, inhale, close your eyes and sleep. And they do. But it's not a physical sleep. They don't sleep. They are acting out a sleep-like state. They're responding to the idea of sleep, but they're not in sleep. They are not sleeping. So I gave him the suggestion, next time you open your eyes, you are Michael Jackson. So he was a good candidate until this point. He opened his eyes and he says, no. He refused to do it. And I'm like, okay, let's give him a different way, the same instruction. Close your eyes. Now I manipulated the emotions. Watch. Next time when you open your eyes, you realize that you deeply always wanted to be Michael Jackson. So here is a chance for you. You can. So he opened his eyes. No. And I'm like, Third. Now he was dressed up into this RCMP red uniform. Listen, he was an officer. So I said to him, close your eyes. Next time you open your eyes, this is the police academy. They're Galanite. It's an order. You are Michael Jackson. Do it. I give him an order. He opened his eyes and boom, immediately he did it.
Wow. Now, did he do it in a way that like he was acting?
That's when I understood suggestion has to be aligned with the person's personality and their needs and wants. Otherwise, there is no motive. There is no desire to do that.
So it's almost how you word it to kind of sculpt it.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a whole different world.
It is a whole different world. Listen,
like the hypnosis is a really interesting topic. It really
remember
is.
this. People think of a trance that there is a hypnotist and somebody will hypnotize you and you are passed out, you know nothing about yourself, and you're gonna do all kind of silly or stupid things, and you are scared or they are invading your mind or whatever, and it's nothing like that. It is exactly almost like a meditational stage when you are relaxed. The only difference between meditation and hypnosis is the intention.
It's the intention.
It all comes back to intentions again.
Okay,
always.
So now think about this. Emotions activate an automatic trance state. The deeper the emotion, the more profound that trance state is. And for this, you don't have to close your eyes. It's only enough to say, I believe in Carney. I believe in Trudeau. I believe in whatever, they will rescue me. So when you are emotional, the critical mind is stopped properly functioning.
Do you think it's possible, from your professional viewpoint on hypnosis, do you think it's possible to hypnotize masses through, say, a device like TikTok or something, like through a dance or music or something, to really just go with the swipe up and then hearing the song? Like, I know when I hear a song, for instance, my body goes into something like, Do you think that's possible?
Remember this. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, no, I guess my question would be, and this is probably just an off the wall question here about government control on hypnosis and stuff. Like, could you hypnotize a mass group through technology? Like, I know you got to be a willing participant. You got to be a willing participant.
On what you just said, you don't have to be a willing participant. You just have to receive the same emotional manipulation and the same message over and over again. So you will be conditioned to respond that way.
Okay, so actually, I have
think
a way
about
to work.
Mask. Put on the mask. Put on the mask. Put on the mask. Follow the line. Follow the line. Only go this direction. Okay, you cannot touch that shop because go the COVID. And I'm like, for God's sake, this thing is flying all over the places.
I was just gonna put it into perspective. I was gonna ask that same question.
It was a mass psychosis.
Well, and the same with the Communist Party what it was at its peak, and the Nazis, right? Like, how do we get to that level? Is that what I think that's what Brandon was asking, kind of in a roundabout way. Like, are they conditioning? Are they conditioning us now for something like that has already happened? Like, is this the same steps for something before?
Always been.
And that's how they do it. How do they do it from from what you've experienced through what you've learned? How does this work? This manipulation
triggering emotions. When you are emotional, okay. Can I draw here or no drawing tool on this program?
You could probably draw on your paint program, and then
if you put it. Let me explain a little bit. Maybe I don't want to learn something what I haven't used yet. So here is the brain. Here is my head. Okay, if I turn sideways, in the midsection there we would have the midbrain, what is called the limbic system. Now in the limbic system, there's a couple of glands. One of them is called the amygdala. the other is the hippocampus, and the hippocampus is for the memory activation, and the amygdala is for your emotion. That's an emotional center to responding to your emotions. When the emotionally you are triggered, it's sending signal immediately to your memory centers. Now you are activated in the brain physically. Okay. At this moment, there is no analytical information. There is just now you became active. So let's say your wife pisses you off. Now you are responding like a broken little boy when mom was giving you shit when you were a little. And now you are responding to your wife, let's say, angry as a man with that child's emotion. Now this emotion can last for a long time. You are now sending stress signals down to the endocrine system. Your adrenaline glands is going to prepare you for the flight and fight system. So you try to protect or attack or withdraw yourself. Now, this is an emotional overload. And the higher the emotional overload in the limbic system, in the midbrain, okay, at that moment, information either partially or completely cease, sending it to your frontal lobe for cognitive thinking. So you simply responding, you are reacting, you are in a reactive survival mode. And this is what the government does to us.
That almost sounds like it almost sounds like that's the inner child work too, that people are being told to work through as well. It's almost the exact same thing. It starts.
It is well, yes, but let's not jump into inner child healing. But the whole idea is here. If you looked at this 4 or 5 years, the government didn't allow people actually to think. All the time it was an emotional high to respond. COVID, vaccine, lockdowns, scared, fear. Okay, you cannot see your friends, your family. Oh, you're gonna get infected. Get it. Protection. Protect yourself. Now they are manipulating you constantly. So you are not letting. And then, now there is UFOs in BC. There are UFOs in the Yukon. And then here comes the next thing: is Ukraine, the war, then Palestine, and so they don't let people. They always distract with these emotions. They create the problem and they come in as I am your savior.
Absolutely.
And people fall for this. People fall for this, guys.
And people do. And it's hard to not live in a world without some sort of governance. It really is. It's a really hard balance. But like yourself, you came from a communist country. And you came before it fell. It fell in like 1989. Is that
83.
When Hungary? 83 it fell. And so.
83 when I left. 89 when the Berlin Wall came down.
When the Berlin Wall came down. So you've seen real life patterns, and you've recognized patterns that you're seeing in our current situation. That kind of gets you a little bit nervous. About
when they elected Trudeau the first time, I started to saying that communism is hitting Canada. When Trudeau in the last 4 years, I said these are fascism, and now is this full-blown Nazi regime, and I don't care who say and what they think.
Interesting.
So what is the end game? Like trying to figure it out. Like why is there this
control?
But why is the spiritual awakening happening?
You will always obey, because now you are threatened. You're surviving. Listen, the only way I can control society, okay, if you are unable to feed your children and take care of your family, that's the number one fear.
Yeah, that's going to get you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we get out of this? Is that why everybody's suddenly having these spiritual awakenings, so to speak? Is that why the trauma has triggered whatever that is? And what is the end goal on the other side? Like, what do you think the fascist end goal is? A 1984 society, or is there a chance that we could not see that? What is
the Brave New World
spiritual awakening all about? Because it seems like, yeah, exactly. Like it seems like we've gone through 1984. We're not quite at 1984, but we're going through Brave New World right now. And we're just going through all these novels that were written 50 years ago. They're all falling like dominoes. It almost seems like we're living throughout a movie. So maybe that's the plan. Maybe they have to show us their hand, like everybody says, right? Like, what is it that you see the end game being? And again, I guess the greater question is, what are we to do with this awakening that we're going through?
We are doing the awakening, and some will wake up. Some will realize that this is not good for them. Please think about this. Let's look at a family with 3 kids. Okay. Mother, father, in the past 4 or 5 years, how they are struggling if they are unable to shift, or they were just average workers. How do they survive? So eventually what this government is doing, basically forcing people to submit to the government. I will help you. They be creating a government-dependent society.
Yeah,
it is brainwashing society, and eventually people will surrender.
But then, what is the point? Like, if money is fake, which we all know it is, like all these I don't even want to go through the list of conspiracies, but if money for sure is fake, and they want us living in cubes eating bugs and fake protein or whatever the end game is, what is the point of having us without a massive culling? Like, are we truly meant to be batteries for something bigger? Or like what is the point of having us? Like, are they just harvesting something?
I love
it's
the
like,
question.
It's like they're energy
I
vampires.
think about this. And the only one thing I can say is, even through history, there was always some psychopath, conqueror, dictator, whatever we name them. Actually, one of them was very famous, conquered the entire Europe. His name was Attila the Hun. Okay, so if you think about that, Alexander the Great or Genghis Khan or whatever we name, the Ottoman Empire, it was always some psychopath who come up with this idea to control and create this beautiful society. It will never happen. There's no such thing we are equal. There's no such thing we are exactly the same. And this is where this game becomes dangerous, because I grew up in this. And in a communist system, I tell you, this is what happens. Eventually, everybody becomes corrupt, because that's the only way you can sustain. That's the only way you will be able to get anything. If you want to go to the doctor, they're going to tell you, well, you can be on the waiting list for years, like in Canada now. Or if you want to get in faster to get an MRI, well, give me $500 and I bring you in right away. This is how it starts, my friend. And the next thing how it starts, okay, everybody is trying to offer their services, avoiding taxation.
And that's interesting, because we are actually currently living in societies right now. There's communities being built with bartering, right? Like old trading methods, getting away from the dollar. Like, I'm going to grow a few carrots, you grow a few potatoes, we swap carrots and potatoes, which is, it really blows my mind. I know that Troy and I, we come from the bubble of the military, and living in the bubble of the military, you just kind of put your civilian hat aside, and you just kind of you wake up every day and you live the same way every single day. And that's how we did it. And then as soon as you come out into a transition into a civilian world, you kind of, you're like, a little bit of a speed bump, a little bit of a rough transition, but this transition is astonishing.
Look,
there has been
military background, so am I. I was in mandatory 2-year service, free.
Yeah,
we had to do it for the country.
Exactly.
And because my printing background, so they put me to become a passport controlling officer, which was controlled by the internals back in the communist country. So listen, we had a 3 months training on field training, and we were trained at that. I was right at the Austria border, right close to Vienna. Okay, it was only a fence separating me from Vienna, and I wanted to freaking escape. But again, we were always put down to the fence line with another guy. And both of us were always trained, if one tried to escape to the west, you shoot.
Wow.
And you were always put there with another guy in the next duty, and you never know if you try to escape, he's going to shoot you or report you. We were trained to shoot the next person, and we are in the same bunk.
What is the point? Like, what is the point of that much control?
Control.
But so
But once they have it, what do they do with it? Like, that's where I don't understand. Like, what is the end goal? They would have to cull the herd. There's no other way around it. And then what is the point if they don't have their little house?
Fear. Think about this: control by fear.
Yeah,
control by fear. Is fear.
And the number one machine to be doing that right now is obviously the screens, right? Like the screens are the number one thing. And the easiest way, people call these devices, these things here, they call them phones.
Brandon,
yeah,
take
let's
over.
not
I gotta
call them
step out for a
phones.
second.
This is a military grade propaganda machine. Okay, let's not call it a phone. And it's fantastic. Like you can do a lot of cool stuff with it, but it's definitely not as basic as what we would think is a phone. I try to remind myself every time I pick it up, I'm like, I'm inviting the government in my head. Like there's a sense of propaganda that's going to be pumping through here. So
can I teach you something?
Absolutely.
This is the easiest way to control yourself. Become aware when you are emotionally boiling up. At that moment, okay, you are activated. You've been triggered. In this trigger, you are not in the present. Everything which is emotionally being activated is coming from past experiences stored in your subconscious mind. So now at that moment, the higher, the longer this emotional state is, the less control you have. You are not aware of it. The critical part of the brain, what we call the critical factor, is being deactivated, which will analyze information logically.
So I get that way a lot in certain areas, definitely. But we can talk about, like, say, like driving, for instance. Like there's a sense of an emotion that comes with it, and you got to be present. And when you drive, you got to, yeah.
So give you a hint.
Yeah.
You are driving and somebody just cuts in front of you and you have to push the brake.
So that's where I'm getting at, road rage.
Now listen, your reaction, it is subconscious. So the first is you're going to do this, with your finger, or you're going to yell or honk the horn or whatever. However, the conscious is to become aware. Slow down. I don't know what's his business. He's have a dying child in the back. His dog is in the back and throwing up, or you know what I mean. To become aware, it's not my game. It's not my drama. So I will slow down my car and just let them go. I wouldn't even respond.
And that's the kind of control that just elevates your frequency, I would think, right? It just elevates your kind of like your sense of peace. Right? You get a sense of peace when you have that kind of control, I would assume, because I know with me, when somebody cuts me off, I instantly give in to that kind of emotion sometimes, right? And yeah, I will give the finger and honk the horn and go, "What's your problem?" But like that just affects me. The other person
go
doesn't.
home with this emotion. You're gonna go home and you are crazy, and like.
I'm going to go home with that emotion. So to have that kind of awareness, it's just like, no, that awareness it's a subconscious kind of trigger, right? And
to become aware. What's happening really.
Feel that.
And the other, that is a beautiful dog. I have a white boxer and an old shepherd, black shepherd.
Yeah, I got a lizard. I got a gecko. And it's
I used to breed chameleons when I was young. But anyway, let's go back to a second for this whole thing. How can I control it? How can I control myself when I am becoming angry? So think about this. Here's the first thing I try to explain to everybody. What the other person is doing, it's not against you. So let me explain this. It's going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
You're gonna go home and your wife is with another man having
Wife's with
sex.
another man. The
So
wife is with the other man.
you're gonna go home and you go berserk. Now some will
Okay.
grab the gun, shoot both of them. They do stupid things at that time. Then they sit down on the bed and then they start to think. So that's the moment, what we call the highlight, the temporary insanity, when you are not thinking anymore. However, if you are really logical, I am not going to become a victim or how do you say the participant of other people's drama. And so if I analyze this for a quick second, and if you practice this, you are going to start to train your brain to think like this for everything. So here it is. She didn't do it deliberately to hurt you. She did it for her own personal enjoyment. By you thinking of that, I've been cheated on. Now you are a victim of her actions.
Right.
I wouldn't lower myself to become a victim of other people's action.
Through selfish desire.
It's a new philosophy, isn't it?
That is absolutely beautiful that you say. And I, honestly, man, like, I grew up in a time period, none of this is discussed. Like, emotional maturity was definitely not a subject. And, to have that kind of perspective, something so terrible that, like, that incident, something that bad that could happen, you could reframe it in a way where you're not the victim. You're not the victim. It's more the fact that person...
Let's switch this. If you're gonna meet your high school girlfriend you were in deeply love with and never ever had the chance, and now you are in a reunion and you guys just click and it's gonna happen, did you do it to hurt your spouse? Did you do it deliberately to mess up your marriage? And no, it was a temporary emotional overload. And so step out of the victim mode when something happens to you. Remember this. I wonder, why did this person do what they do? If I respond, I become a part of their problem. Is it my problem? Does it belong to me at all?
That is so true.
It sounds like it's a lot of taking accountability is almost the cure.
I don't know what it is. It's just
because it's just more reframing. People. Yeah,
it is.
Troy,
it is,
you want to put
everything.
You want to put up, Troy, the I've been trying to put the present button here, but it's not currently working for myself. But if you can grab the frequency list, because I believe victim is on there. There's like guilt, victim, and stuff.
What was that under?
Here, I'll send you.
Was that under chakras and auras? Did you send it to me?
I can send you a picture. No problem, buddy. But it's very interesting conversation about, like, not sitting into that, sitting with things. And you brought up some really great points with the effects of, like, one, walking into this kind of journey yourself and then doing the hypnosis and then learning how that kind of affects with all the consciousness and then learning how to help others. Is like one of the greatest things I heard was the fact that you led it's like it's a human experience. I believe you led a way, we all lead in a way of, like, ego up until the point it collapses, and then it's like that collapse happens and then it turns into, it's not about ego anymore, it's about just living. And what's the most important thing about it, what's interesting, what you said, it's that, like, you started, like, you prayed to the creator and you were like, I'm going to do my services for free and all this. But, like, the adventures you went on during this time period, like, it sounds like you had, like, quite a list from 2005 all the way up to, like, 20 years. You've had quite an experience. So that is, I just wanted to touch up on that. And then the frequency list, Troy, frequency list.
Was that the document under auras or the chakras?
No, I just kind of.
I don't think you sent me anything, buddy.
I'll send you something there. You guys just
Well, I guess my question is going to be like going back to kind of the convergence of everything, because that's the one thing I've noticed in a lot of the counseling sessions I've heard others go to, and myself included. Everybody is feeling the shake. A lot of people are apparently coming back to religion. They're going into these. They're looking for answers, and that's kind of where this spiritual push seems to be going. So I guess my question is, like, why now do you think psychedelics are being leniency? Why do you think the holistic stuff is being more opened in the world now? Is it because they can't stop it, or is it kind of manufactured like everything else? And those states you go into on altered substances, like the spiritual people say that it's the spirit realm. Other people say it's the heavenly realm. It's probably the subconscious and some of the places that you go. Like, what do you make of that for people who are going into this through all of these different states of consciousness during this time frame? Like, why is it all a convergence now as everything's falling apart?
oh
I don't even know what to say for all this, because I don't necessarily believe in these type of substances to use. Okay, so is this an escape mechanism? Am I trying to escape from some internal pain which maybe I am unaware of? Does this make me really feel good? Do I really need it? I don't know. The only one time I tried marijuana, man, I thought I'm gonna puke my guts out. It smells, it's disgusting, and I hate the smell of it. Even when it's, when I just don't tolerate it. But I am not against it. Do whatever you want. Experience.
Well, the reason I ask is because they're using substances now like ketamine for veterans PTSD treatment all across Canada. There's a few in New Brunswick, a few here. They're doing psilocybin treatments as well. And these people go into these altered states and they swear that they see these fractally patterns. And a lot of these patterns that even I've seen under these states represent a lot of indigenous cultures' clothing throughout. So it shows that this has been around for thousands of years, obviously. It's just a matter of, is that an altered state of the subconscious, do you believe? Or do you think that there could be something higher of a realm that we're breaching? Because even with Kundalini breathing, they tell you can go mad if you don't do it properly, which is wild, because you're just box breathing. But I guess there's more to it than just box breathing.
Yeah, there's certain practices and stuff that are like, I think what you're getting to, Troy, is that, like, why now? Why now are they throwing out all these substances and they're coming to a point where they're pushing mental health, and then they're throwing all these psychedelics and all these different treatments, and one of them being yourself, like doing the hypnosis is definitely one, and it's a whole different field. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm curious about, and this is what, like, really what the show is about. Really, it's about, like, just exploring everything and then having that open door policy. Like, let's get through this and understand a little bit more about, like, the spiritual side of it, or is it just just as, like, going through emotions, like, who knows what they're trying to do? Who knows what we're trying to do as a humanity, right? But it's curious. So I think we're all just curious. I'm trying to do the screen share here, Troy, but it's not currently working on my end. I don't know if there's a block on your end, possibly. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. How's that? Does that look good?
I can see that.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's just and this is off of well, it's off one. This guy, Dr. David R. Hawkins, Map of Consciousness. And I don't know why it's not that, it shouldn't be that fuzzy.
I can see it clearly. You're good.
Okay,
I just blew it up.
guys. Good stuff, guys. That's what I want to hear. So I just want to be aware of some time here, but what's really, like, we got our conscious levels. We got your unconscious, your conscious, and subconscious. And with that, you have certain things that you're doing in your subconscious that you just have to be aware of, right? To change your projections of life, really. And I think there's so many individuals that are just stuck in that subconscious kind of mindset that are just kind of walking through life.
If someone makes you angry, they conquered you. They won already. You. Yes, they won.
That's the game right there.
That's how simple that is.
Yeah.
Who should I give this control to over me? Just because nobody can piss you off, nobody can make you angry. You do that to yourself because you're reacting, you are not thinking.
So how do you get to the neutrality level then? How do you get to that point where you just don't care? You're like, it doesn't bother me. How do you get there? Like, what is the best way?
Honestly, these are the first thing. What the other person is doing is not doing it against me. They're doing it for themselves. I wonder, why did they do that? Why did he say that?
So how do you keep a just world? How do you keep a fair world?
No such thing.
Ooh.
I want to be fair to me, not to others.
We're throwing you some deep questions here, Attila. I'm telling you.
So is it truly selfish then to look out for yourself at the end of the day? Because everyone says love and compassion, but it seems like it comes back to the survival instinct, as you were saying earlier. It just seems like at the end of the day, it's going to be my little tribe, and out of that tribe, it's going to be, my next offspring that's going to make it. Like it just seems like it breaks it down compound that way.
Here's the rule number one of the mind is every thought, every idea, especially when you are emotionally involved, and usually we are, will have a corresponding physiological change or response or reaction in your body. It will change your biochemistry, the way you're responding. So if you become angry, that means now you are in an animal instinct, you are attacking back.
Right.
So maybe that's belong, when we were fighting with a wild boar for food. But why do I need to fight another person or argue with another person if they are stupid or if they are idiots? The second rule of the mind is what is expected. So what's your expectation? You are going to somehow attract it to yourself, or you are going to make it happen. So it tends to be realized.
So that's almost like the law of attraction or the manifestation principle.
Think about this. You're going to decide you want to buy a yellow, like a lemon yellow, a Corvette. Okay. So now you have this image, you're visualizing it, and you have all these emotions, and you're going to go on the street and suddenly listen. You're going to, there was one. There's another yellow car. And until that moment, you did not realize how many yellow cars were on the market.
Yeah.
But now, because your focus is on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What do you think about synchronicities on that then?
Synchronicity?
Yeah, like seeing something, like for me, it was pretty random, but like it was like license plates and like whatever, like numbers and synchronicities and stuff. So what you're saying, and which is a good point of view, and I want to take that. If you're always thinking about that subconsciously, you're just going to be looking for license plates with 111 on it or 555.
These are the angel numbers, and we have feathers in front of the house, and so we can project all this nonsense into these things, and you will make it happen to your mind. It's an illusion, or it can become even delusion. But the reality is this: How many times? Listen, this 1-1-1-1, 11-11, I did it for 2 years running.
Right.
Okay, and the more I was focusing on it, the more everywhere I looked, that's all what I saw. And I took screenshots, photos, pictures. It was on the coffee maker. It was everywhere, on the phone, on the computer, on my everything. What I saw, it was, another one, another. So, but synchronicity can be something like this. You meet someone, a total stranger, unexpectedly, and you find out, okay, listen, you were born on the same day. You have the same birth date.
So it's deeper.
Okay, so now, and then, but however, if you look at logically, from the 8 billion people, you two are not the one who born exactly at the same time. It's become special now to you, which is not creating the special connections, creating special emotions, which could be distorting the reality.
So we're projecting our own thoughts, literally, just not in the way we would like to perceive them.
What you think of, it tends to be realized. So what you believe in, you will bring it and manifest it to yourself. However, I do believe in this. Become aware and consciously aware of what I want. Right. Give you an example, and I hope you don't mind I talk a lot.
Oh my gosh, you're the guest, sir. You're the guest, and thank you so much. You've been doing great.
With my students, I always make to write a letter to themselves in the end of the very first hypnotherapy class, which is a self-discovery class, okay? So in the last day, they are writing a letter a year ahead. So for example, today you would be in the final hour of the classroom. I would give you the assignment to write a letter to yourself that this today is 2026, May 19, or whatever is today, May 21. And you are writing down what happened and what you accomplished in 2025. So you are writing what you accomplished, but we are projecting to a year ahead. Do you follow this?
You're writing what you have accomplished in year 2025, but you're projecting.
You are writing that. You already done this. Please do this to yourself, guys.
Jim Carrey did the same thing. He wrote that $1 million check to himself.
And here comes the secret. You have to become very precise. So let me tell you, I do this almost every year or every second year, at least to myself. After I broke my neck, I made my letter. So here it is. I was thinking to move to Los Angeles. I wanted to buy one of my master's school, he was still alive at that time, Gil Boyne. So I just made a shortening, abbreviation of Los Angeles, L.A. school possible. I am making millions. Breeding dogs. I wanted to breed Afghan greyhounds with these long hairs, beautiful dogs. And traveling and teaching small courses. So listen, I moved to Windsor, and here comes my letter a year later when I'm reading it with some of the students who we were in the same class. So I asked this lady from Edmonton, what did you accomplish, what you wrote down? And then she says, Attila, I opened my office and I said, where is it? So she gives me this idea, Berg, the Misericordia Hospital, and this and that. And I said, oh yeah, I know. It's above the bank on the upper level. And she says, yeah, you got it. That's the one. I said, what did you write to your letter, in your letters? And then she says, I am sitting on a pile of money. And I opened my office and I said, you did. And you are sitting on someone else's money. It's not yours because you are above the bank. And then she says, oh my God, I accomplished what I wrote. Yeah, that's the Afghan hound. I wanted to breed this. So let me tell you the story how I manifested all this, what I just wrote down. You have to become very precise of your plans because your subconscious mind is lazy and it will deliver. So listen, I move into Windsor. I didn't buy the school in Los Angeles. I didn't have 1.15 million to buy or whatever. So I go to a lecture here in town about vitamin D's. So I walk up to the doctor and we're talking, and he says, "Oh, where is your office?" I'm asking. And he says, "Oh, my office is in downtown LA." And I'm like, "Oh, I know LA. I'm teaching in LA almost every year, twice a year. You know, I'm always there. Which part in LA?" And then he's smiling and he says, "Attila, LaSalle." And that's when I realized the small village I live in, near Windsor, is called
LA.
LaSalle. Everybody nicknames it LA.
Oh,
Listen, now I am in LA. I'm living in LA. But not in the LA I was planning. My daughter's still living with us at that time. "Dad, there is this little beagle running around the school. Let's catch her." "Oh, I'm an animal activist. We go catch the dog." The dog runs out. We couldn't find the owner, so we're keeping the dog. The neighbor husky and this little dog, they had, of course, sex. Now we got puppies born. Now I'm breeding dogs, but not the Afghan Huns.
Said he wanted to.
You got it? Now listen, then I get a phone call, 2008, to go to Hungary to teach the very first hypnotherapy class in Hungary. I was the one introducing hypnotherapy there. So now listen, I go to Hungary, I do this first class. At the end of the class of the week, I'm getting paid in Hungarian currency and I'm happy. They are 8 million forint. It's not dollars. It's only about what, $10,000 I made. Okay, so you understand? I am not making millions, but not in the currency of what I wanted.
Yeah.
This is still nothing. Listen, the little dogs are born. 4 dogs. So my wife is looking at one. Let's keep the red one. If we would keep the dog, she would keep the red one. I said I would keep the little brown and the black. And my daughter, she wants to keep the little tricolor, you know, black, brown, and white. No, we're not keeping any because we already have 3 dogs. So finally we find people, they adopt the dogs out. I have a huge yard and a dog run. I tell the people, listen, please don't take the puppy to the shelter. In case if you can't handle it, bring it back. 3 days later, I get a phone call. The one I like the most, I wanted to keep, the people call me back. He is biting my 3-year-old daughter. Can we bring him back? Yes. Now I got the first dog back. Next one. Attila, my husband lost his job. We have to move. We can't take the red dog. Can we bring it back? Yes. My wife gets the dog back. Listen, one day I'm coming home driving to the driveway and too many dogs in the backyard. And I'm like, well, the third people, they didn't even call. They just dropped the dog in the yard and left it there. So imagine this. Subconsciously, emotionally, we are linking. We would like to have these dogs, but we give them away and they all came back. So this is the lesson for your subconscious. You have to become very precise because you will get what you want. Become aware of what you're saying, what you're doing, and what you want, because you will attract to yourself.
This is a practice that I can do right now if I want. Like write on a piece of paper, subconsciously start. It doesn't have to start on New Year's Eve on that day or whatnot. Like it can start today. Right. So, yeah. And would you do this practice with your children?
Well, they are in Edmonton. They live in Edmonton. You know, they grown up now. I'm 63. They are getting close to 40. Some of them. But,
so do they do this practice themselves? Do they try, or like
I wouldn't know? Like, honestly, I wouldn't know. I wish they will do. Maybe they do sometimes. But
hey, trust me, man. I have a hard time listening to my parents too.
You know what I mean?
That's the rebel inside me, man. And but I think I might try to push that on to my 6-year-old, and you see what he say about his last 5. I told him, I was like, buddy, what do you want to do this year? What are your 5 things you want to do? And he came up with 5 things. He came up with ninja. He wants to be a ninja. A scientist. He wants to be a scientist. A hacker. And I absolutely laughed at that part. I was like, my man, you are 6 years old. Why are you talking about hacking things? I loved it. It was good. Hacking, a pro gamer, and then the best Minecraft player ever. And I thought that I was like, it's so important. We don't do this enough in society, really. We're just kind of unaware and we just aimlessly walk through life. So it would be really good just to kind of have that kind of guidance. Thanks a lot for sharing. I just want to be conscious on time there, Troy. We got about 10 minutes here. Do you want to just start to funnel out and final remarks? And
we could do a quick segment with some chat GPT for fun, because we were going to do those segments where we're going to say, what's your favorite conspiracy theory, and then we'll run it through the AI god and have a little bit of fun for the audience. Because unfortunately nobody's been commenting tonight, so
no, that's great. I just want to say my final words to Attila. Thank you so much, sir, for having the time to coming on and sharing your insight. Our goal is to set up a YouTube and stuff and have these conversations, and just be open and just like for myself, I'm just going on a journey and just listening and trying to be as active and be with you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I appreciate that you called. And here is a final statement, one line. Opposing ideas cannot be held in the mind at the same time. You cannot be healthy and sick at the same time. You cannot be a smoker and a non-smoker. You cannot be good and bad. You either this or either that. So when you have this internal conflict, that when cognitive dissonance starts to happening and you become, what should I do? What should I do? And now you're going to pick one side maybe, which is you are emotionally more inclined or involved with. However, if you pick the wrong side at that moment, now you're going to hang on to it because you need to prove that. And no matter what, I'm going to put the freaking mask on and I'm going to get the jabs and I'm going to, because you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I do. And wise words from a wise man. I really it's the first time I met you and I can see how professional and wise you are. And you've lived a very full life. Communist country, kids, migration, traumas and whatnot, but you found a way to be resilient and you're sharing your story. So I think that's just awesome. I think the more of that happens, if you're more than welcome to come on, man, whenever. We will keep on having these conversations moving forward. Troy, do you want to say something final and then we'll do the little chat GTP?
No, I'm just thankful that you happen to come out. Hopefully we can get you on again. I like to have a bunch of different sides come on the show, and perhaps hopefully one day that you'd be willing to have a debate with somebody on the other side of the house. We know somebody who's on the other side who was been loving to talk to you, but we just have to get that set up at some point down the road. But outside of that, I guess I'll leave it to you guys. What do you see the next conspiracy theory that gets proven true? And let's see what AI has to say about that. What do you guys think?
Conspiracy theory that gets proven true. That's a good one. There's aliens in the water. Aliens in the ocean. Yeah.
What about you, Attila? What's your favorite one that you think might be true?
I think it's going to be some spiritual revelation through somehow involved religious.
You know what?
I'm not sure if this is going to be real or orchestrated or fake, but they have to. That's what I think. They're going to create some kind of a spiritual type of, a religious sort of awakening that we need to belong and unite. And
that's what I forgot to ask you earlier, was that it says right down out here at the bottom, do you think New Age is going to be that new religion?
No.
Or do you think the Christians may have been right? Because a lot of people get stuck with, if they get rid of the dogma, they can find enlightenment, but then they have that Christian guilt or that seeded guilt from whatever their stemmed religion is. What do you think is going to happen with religion in the next couple of years?
Well, I'm not saying that in the next couple of years, but the only thing came to me when you asked this question, I had this flash in front of me of the Sylvester Stallone movie, with the when we are in the future, with the seashell as a wiping your butt. You remember that movie?
Demolition Man.
Yeah, to create that society when they are brainwashed and they just obey, and everything is just this seems like it's groovy, but nobody has brain anymore, or nobody has critical. They just belong and they just obey and do what is been told.
Happy little automatons.
That's what I think we are heading towards.
Well, let's ask.
I really hope not.
I really hope not. Unless we unite against these idiots in government power.
I think the only thing we can do is stay as grounded as possible and have these kind of conversations on these kind of platforms that, we have technology that we're able to connect, but also technology can divide the shit out of us. So let's continue. Definitely have these conversations. What do you got, Troy?
AI. Can you answer a question for us? What do you think the next conspiracy theory proven true about spiritual revolution is going to be, or aliens in the ocean?
Oh, that's the double.
That's a fascinating question. While I don't have predictions or beliefs, I can share some ideas that are currently sparking interest. Some people are exploring the connection between consciousness, spirituality, and the natural world. Others are intrigued by the possibility of unknown aquatic life or underwater ecosystems. As for aliens, there's ongoing research into the possibility of life on other planets and moons in our solar system. Perhaps the next big revelation will come from a surprising intersection of science, spirituality, and the unknown. What are your thoughts on these topics?
Very curious. Yeah.
You should have asked her, how do I use the 3 seashells?
Yes.
How do we use the 3 seashells?
Yeah.
The 3 seashells reference is a bit of a mystery without more context. Are you thinking of a specific story, movie, or cultural reference? In the movie Demolition Man, there's a famous line about 3 seashells and how to use them as a toilet system, but it's largely a humorous, nonsensical plot point. If you have more context or a different reference in mind, I'd love to try and help you explore the idea.
Oh, I love it, gentlemen. That was good. I kind of subscribe a little bit more to what was that other movie? Idiocracy. I think that might be the first step before we get to Demolition Man at the very least. So with that, guys,
we're getting close to Idiocracy, aren't we? We're getting close to that.
We're on the cusp.
But like, again, we just keep on being us, and all it takes is a couple connections to spread the wave, right? And that's it, right? Just smiling and really waking people up, just kind of talking with them, connecting. So till then, man, again, thanks a lot, Attila, and we'll get into this conversation more often than not. Troy, awesome stuff, bye. And let's have a good night.
Thanks, guys. We'll be doing it again. Everyone out there, thanks for watching. Remember, the door's always open. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, guys.
Good night, guys.